Good morning, sports fans. Uh, this is George with Custom Tie Flies and Guide Service, and this morning we are going to be tying a rusty spinner. So I'm using Danville Flymaster Black 140 denier. We're just going to tie in. The thread's going to cooperate. Up by the head. I'm going to run the thread all the way to the back. To right here where the bend and the shank come together. For the tail filaments, I'm using micro fibbits. You could also use paintbrush bristles. They're essentially the same thing. Now, there are some guys that get their self wrapped around how many tail filaments a mayfly has, whether it's 2 or it's 3 or whatever. This is a dead spinner. It's laying on the water. Guaranteed the fish doesn't care. So I just picked a few out and compare them to the hook shank. They should be 1 to, I don't know, 1.25 times. Basically just a little longer than the hook shank. I'm going to get my thread up under them. Now, if you just had 2, you'd want to get your thread in between to kind of spread them out a little bit. Now comes the fun part, putting on the wings. Now this is Hareline Antron yarn in a cream. These wings are basically going to disappear when they're on the water. But they're going to make a profile, so that's kind of important. So you're going to just get yourself a section of the Antron yarn, and you're just going to lay it on top. You're going to take 2 kind of loose wraps just to kind of get it in position. And then you're going to turn the Antron yarn so that the wing is at right angles to the hook. See, it looks like that. And then just take a couple of securing wraps behind. 1, 2. Come over to the top. 1, 2. Come over to the top. And you can trim this excess off for now. You're going to trim these wings here in a few minutes. You just want to get that out of the way. Run your thread to the back. And then the body is Hareline Superfine dry fly dubbing in a rusty brown. You're just going to take a hunk out of the bag. I wet my thread, and I just take a little wisp like this. And turn it on to the thread. You don't want to get a whole lot on there because this superfine dubbing is really hard to get back off the thread once it's on there. Take a couple of turns, in the back, go under, see, I'm just coloring the thread. Come over to the top. Here you're making your little thorax. Then pull the wings back. I'm going to need a little more. Just a hair more, just an itty bitty bit more. I want to build up that little bit of thorax there right in front of the wings. Then come forward. There's my head. Get my whip finish tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boy, I really lucked out on the size of the wing. I turn my wing upside, my fly upside down, and then I pull my wing down. And then after that, you got to kind of eyeball it. You don't want to cut them too short. You mess around and mess the fly all up. But there you go. A little drop of head cement on there. I use Rumpf clear head cement. It's lacquer fingernail polish, essentially. Do not use UV resin on this. UV resin is way denser than head cement, and it'll sink your bug. So there you go. We'll get a little closer here. Yeah, you can't. Oh, maybe that was better. Okay, so that's the rusty spinner. It is it's a spent sulfur. It's a rusty spinner. There's a lot of different mayflies that when they die like this, they get really close to that color. So, in fact, most of them do. Excuse me. So, thank you again for checking in with us. This is George with Custom Tied Flies and Guide Service. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on the web at www.custom-tied.com. Have a splash, don't forget the dash. And on Facebook, it's customtyer02, customtyer02. That's the virtual fly shop. So, again, have a good day. This has been the Rusty Spinner with Custom Tied Flies and Guide Service.